Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're doing the European Outlook. Today's second video shows on Thursday. We have a look at the weather for next week, 10 days in detail for the UK and for the rest of Europe too. And I shall get on back to you in a moment. Just say that first video, say, was our 6 AM upload. And on 10 to 14 day of all of great features coming up to you later on this afternoon. So please like, subscribe on the videos. And thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, so we'll start off then. This is the current situation today, and we've got high pressure across northern Europe, big area of high pressure dominates across Scandinavia, back into western parts of Russia, pulling up some heat up the northern and eastern side of Europe. At the same time, trough low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic into the west. This is how the upper air temperatures are looking. So cooling down in the western part of Europe, Ireland, UK, France, actually looking quite cool, those upper air temperatures today. Heat building down across Spain, most parts of Med looking hot, and then the heat extending up the eastern side of Europe, particularly from the Adriatic and the Balkans up towards parts of Poland and Ukraine as well. And then going further north of that into Scandinavia, just very warm really up there with those upper air temperatures. Precipitation today shows showers breaking out across parts of Scandinavia and down into northern parts of Poland. Thunderstorms mixed into some of these Baltic states as well, affected by storms and downpours. A few scattered thunderstorms through parts of the Ukraine, known towards Black Sea. And then down in the southeastern part of Europe, you can see that there's a few showers and storms through parts of Greece. Italy and most of the Mediterranean looking dry, and then further northwards we've got showers and longer spells of rain through France into the Low Country, just into Western Germany as well, and back into Ireland and the UK too. Overall temperatures looking like that, so temperatures should say looking like that. So generally very warm across most parts of Europe, but clearly it is cooler through the extreme west and northwest Europe, so Ireland, UK and France, just into the Low Country as well. Seeing cooler air coming in from off the Atlantic, but most other parts of Europe are looking hot, again particularly in this eastern part of Europe from the Adriatic to the Black Sea. Some very high temperatures there, well over the mid-30s Celsius, and also looking very hot through much of the Mediterranean, of course. Right, so we head on into tomorrow, and still looks an unsettled scene in the northwest Europe. Still this area of high pressure road further northwards and eastwards across northern eastern parts of Europe. So the heat again extending from North Africa and the Med into the east and the southeast Europe, and then pushing northwards up the eastern side into Scandinavia too. At the same time, it's a much cooler scene out to west. So again, UK, France, Ireland, and the Low Countries, and increasing into Germany as well. See much cooler upper air temperatures through there, and then down into Mediterranean once more, the heat really building in that part of the world. Part of Europe, I should say. Right, this is how the precipitation is looking for tomorrow. So again, further showers for the UK and for Ireland, and then thunderstorms marking the boundary between that cooler air in the west and the hotter air further east, and most storms stretching out from Scandinavia down into parts of northern and western Poland and into eastern Germany as well. So further south of that, however, we find some storms around the Alps, but most of the Mediterranean looks mainly dry, hot and sunny, and again a few scattered showers and thunderstorms in this southeastern part of Europe. Heat is there in the east, very high temperatures indeed, well over 35 degrees. For these east and southeastern parts of Europe, again, Italy looking really hot, and that heat extending up into the southeastern part too. Out to the north and west, it's cooler, especially back into Ireland and the UK, but also cooler for France, cooler for Germany, cooler for the Low Countries as well. Saturday looks like that, so when the heat goes on across the southern and southeastern parts of Europe, another region looks like it's nice to form for the central part of Europe, and then again out to the northwest, it's more low pressure dominated once more. Upper air temperatures look very hot through most parts of southern Europe, most parts of Med looking hot. That heat extending up the east side of Europe, but that's cooling down a little bit when we get to southern and western parts of Scandinavia. But the cooler air, or the coolest air, is really for the UK and for Ireland. Although the heat is beginning to reload across southern parts of France, so just starting to warm up a little bit there after the cooler interlude. Precipitation-wise, again, we've got that band of thunderstorms in the east and northeastern part of Europe, mountain boundary between the cooler, fresher air further northwest and the hot air in the east. Of course, heat rebuilding in the south part of Europe, some part of Europe, and there we see mainly dry conditions as you would expect this time of year, with backs of sunshine, no doubt. Temperature-wise, very hot through most parts of Med. Heat gets sending up the eastern side of Europe too, out to the northwest. That's where the coolest of the temperatures are going to be. Notice it is starting to get warmer again through parts of France and Germany and into the low country. Should be see the temperature starting to lift up a little bit. Into Sunday, so low pressure will be dominating in the north part of the Atlantic into the Norwegian Sea. That low pressure heading on towards parts of Norway as well later on in the day, perhaps. Further south, though, and east, most parts of Europe actually dominated by the hot air, but again pushing northwards from North Africa and Mediterranean. There's the upper air temperature again. It's already very warm in the northeastern part of Europe, and the extreme heat is going to be down across some parts of Europe from North Africa into Mediterranean. Notice Spain now looking very hot, and that heat is extending throughout the Mediterranean and into the Balkans and the southeastern part of Europe as well. At the same time, it remains cooler though to the far northwest, UK and Ireland, seeing those lower upper air temperatures. A lot of dry weather on offer on Sunday. So a few showers and storms breaking out across Spain. They're going to be very well scattered though. Otherwise, many other areas look dry. A few showers over the Alps, but the majority of Europe looking mainly dry. Some showers further north or so into Scandinavia, and again perhaps some further storms in far northeast of Europe where that warmth and heat and humidity is just clinging on. A few showers back into Scotland and Ireland as well, perhaps. Temperature-wise, it's a hot scene through most parts of southern Europe. Temperatures well into 30 Celsius. Very warm in many areas, but once again, just out to the far north and northwest, it does look quite a bit cooler through there. On Monday, we find low pressure again to the north of Scotland, heading in towards Norway and Scandinavia. Further south or so, we're dominated by those hot temperatures once more. Upper air temperatures look like that. So very hot through most parts of southern Europe again, from Spain, Portugal, all the way over towards the Black Sea. We see very hot air in those areas. Still very warm in the far northeast of Europe, cooler Scandinavia and back into the UK and Ireland as well. France and Germany seeing warmer temperatures pushing up from the south, or attempting to anyway. A few showers and storms breaking out over the Alps, otherwise most areas of southern Europe looking mainly dry. What showers there are going to be further northwards into Scandinavia and northern parts of Europe. Again, coolest out to the far northwest, but most parts of southern, central, eastern Europe looking very hot indeed, and the heat is building again across parts of France and Germany and the Low Countries, and possibly over towards Poland as well. Just seeing that heat begin to nose further and further northwards from the Med. And Tuesday, low pressure pushes through Scandinavia, so a big change there by the early part of next week. Certainly a lot cooler and rather more unsettled. Ireland and the UK still in those rather cooler northwesterly winds. The heat is going to be across the southern, eastern, southeast parts of Europe. Once again, we can see that from the upper air temperatures. Look at the heat extending out of Africa through the Med into that eastern, southeastern part of Europe. Again, you see the upper air temperatures so much cooler out to the far north and northwest. Precipitation-wise, there's going to be some storms marking the boundary between the heat in the Mediterranean and the cooler air further northwards. Quite a lot of rain over Scandinavia, showers and/or longer spells of rain up there, and then of course, as I said, have those storms from the Pyrenees over the Alps, just marking the boundary between the heat and humidity in the Med and the cooler air from off the Atlantic further northwards. That's how the temperatures look on Tuesday. Again, very hot for most parts of southern, eastern, southeastern Europe. The heat wave will continue further northwest. It will be a lot cooler and fresher. On Wednesday, winds will turn into the north potentially for northern and northwest parts of Europe, so that's a pretty cool wind direction, although high pressure is getting closer from the Azores. Meanwhile, further south and east, the heat wave will continue from most parts of Med into the eastern, southeastern parts of Europe. I think some parts of the Balkans and southeastern Europe could be seeing temperatures approaching 40 degrees by the middle of next week. Very hot temperatures indeed, but it's much cooler again, you'll notice, out to the north and the west. Precipitation-wise, more thunderstorms will mark the boundary between the heat and humidity and dry weather across southern, east and southeast parts of Europe, and this cooler, more unsettled weather further northwest. Showers or long spell of rain Scandinavia, so those storms pushing over the Baltic Sea into these eastern, northeastern parts of Europe as well. Out west is relatively dry through France, Spain and Portugal. More showers for the UK and Ireland, however. And temperature-wise, again, the heat is in the south and the east, southeastern part of Europe, cooler out to the northwest once more. On Thursday, high pressure will start to reach in from off the Atlantic into western part of Europe as this trough of low pressure takes the unsettled weather and some cooler air further eastwards, potentially. So the heat just beginning to fade a little bit in the southeastern part of Europe, but still looking very hot, really, in most parts of southern, east and southeast Europe. And the coolest air will be out to the north and the northwest once again. Temperature-wise, thunderstorms will edge into the eastern part of Europe along a cold front with showers or long spells of rain following behind to northern parts of Europe too. Western Europe should be mainly dry, has to be said, through much of Ireland, the UK, France, Spain and Portugal. Most parts of them looking dry as well. Hint, hot weather going to be through the Med and into the east and southeast of Europe. Cooler out to the northwest, but maybe a little bit warmer in parts of the UK and Ireland. France, relatively warm. Germany, perhaps a little bit cooler and fresher. And Poland, cheers that heat just gets squeezed more towards the extreme east and southeast part of Europe. I'll just bring on to day 10. So it looks like the trend by the end of next week and into weekend like 10th of July will be for high pressure to build into Western Europe. That will start to change things a little bit and bring some warmer weather, hotter weather into western parts of Europe potentially. At the same time, east and southeast Europe with more of a northerly influence and a trough of low pressure could well turn more unsettled with showers and thunderstorms and temperatures just beginning to lower. So the heat wave probably easing off by the second weekend of July. In the east and southeast Europe, and perhaps it starts getting a bit hotter in the north and west, but of course that is a very long way off. Okay, so that's your European Outlook for this week. We'll do it all over again next week. If you enjoyed this European Outlook, then please like, share, subscribe. If you don't show everybody doing that, we'll be back later on with 10 to 14 there. That will include all our great features, so come back then. For the European Outlook, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.